Hey, it's Sam from Baby Bop, and I'm here with Lecia today. Today we'll be discussing how hard it is to be a working mom to be, especially when juggling those prenatal appointments and dealing with exhaustion. So Lecia is here to share some tips with us about how to keep things busy as usual in the office while pregnant. Lecia, lots of moms have asked us about hiding their pregnancy at work. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, personally, my personal thoughts are that you shouldn't hide your pregnancy at work, and I'll say this for three reasons. One is for your bosses. At least I believe you should tell them. Now, you don't know how your pregnancy will impact you in that first trimester rather. And sometimes there's nausea, you're vomiting, and you certainly will be sleeping, and it will impact productivity. Now, I personally prefer to tell my bosses so that they knew what was going on with me rather than to have them call me into a meeting to ask why was my productivity falling. So it's better to be upfront with them. I don't think you have to tell everyone in the office though, but you certainly should at least tell your manager, someone who is superior to you, so they understand what's happening.
Okay, next question. So if a woman does choose to keep her pregnancy a secret, what strategies do you suggest that they try?
Well, what I would say is first, you get the shirt blouses because they cover everything. Those are bigger blouses, they're baggier, and so you won't see much. There is also your belly band, which helps to keep your tummy hidden and tucked for a little while. You can also have loosen your pants and I'm not sure what they're called, but there are those button loops that allow you to extend the waist of your pants.
Oh,
and so you can continue to wear your normal clothes for longer so that it's not obvious. Another thing that you could do is if you're in meetings, you can strategically sit to the door so that if you have to slip out, then it's not so obvious. And if you're making trips to the bathroom, of course, don't just go straight to the bathroom. You can stop by the photocopier, pick up something in the office so it looks as if you're not just rushing off to the bathroom. Thankfully for me, my office was right next door to the bathroom, so nobody really saw when I went to the bathroom. But like I said, I was very upfront as soon as I found out with my bosses, because my work is very demanding and I think that it was very obvious that my productivity would have dropped. So I wanted to be clear from the beginning.
What do you think is the best way for moms to let co-workers know that they're expecting?
Well, the thing is, usually co-workers are very excited. At least that has been my experience. I think, as I said earlier, it's best to wait to tell the rest of the office until the first trimester because of that danger zone, and nobody wants to make a big announcement and then you have to go back and unannounce it. And so it's best to wait. I waited personally until my bosses knew very early, but I announced to the rest of my co-workers, aside from my very, very close friends. The same time I announced it to the rest of the world. Now, mine was very unusual because I told the whole world on social media, which is not necessarily what you'll do. But I think the most important point is to make sure that your bosses know before your co-workers know, because you don't want the gossip to start and for them to go to your boss and then for your boss to come and ask you if you're really pregnant.
Yeah, so we're just avoiding the bosses hearing through the grapevine.
Exactly, and that's important because you want them to know that you're upfront about this and this is not something that you're trying to hide.
So you're about what, 7 months pregnant now?
A little more than 7. Next week will be 8. Yes.
Wow, so
we're almost there. Yes.
So what tips do you have for expectant moms with regards to managing the workload during pregnancy?
Well, the first thing I have to tell you is to be realistic. And I'm going to say this because, and as an attorney, the workload is a lot and you have a lot of target hours that you would be trying to meet. And the truth is, when you're used to going to work to say, for example, by 8 o'clock and you're out of office 9 o'clock, when you're pregnant, it just cannot happen because your body is not going to allow you to do it. So you have to be realistic. You have to understand that you're carrying a human in your body. You're creating a human, and therefore you won't be able to perform at your optimum. And so be realistic about it. Know that you're having a baby. Take the rest when you need it. But I find that if you are in an environment where your bosses are understanding and your co-workers are also understanding and you've disclosed it, then you can rely on them a lot. Because for me, I was able to have some of my co-workers pick up the slack where I dropped off, and this was so because they all understood that I was pregnant, so people would actually volunteer to help me. And so you have to take the help from the persons who are giving you, and my bosses were also mindful of it. And that's another important thing, because if you're trying to hide your pregnancy, especially if you aren't in that stage where everybody knows and they're packing on work on you and you can't manage, then it's going to lead to emotional breakdown. Yes, it is. So it's very clear. You have to make sure that everyone know. And then I find that coworkers, Jamaicans especially, are very helpful and very nice to pregnant people. You can milk it for as long as you want. So where it's important, once you disclose it, take advantage of the help that you get, and don't feel that because you're pregnant you have to try to prove that you can be superwoman pregnant and you can also carry the same amount of workload. I'd say be realistic about what you can and cannot do.
That definitely makes sense. So we've had the baby now. Well, you're about to have the baby.
Very soon, yes.
Alright, so how do you remain connected with the office while you're on maternity leave? Well, without neglecting baby, of course.
Now that's very interesting, because for me especially, I've just started a new job, and so one of the things that I am very concerned and worried about is staying connected with work and being able to get back to work as soon as possible. Now what that may lead to sometimes is, because I've never had a child, and thankfully because my bosses know, and I have a female boss who has a child, she keeps saying, yeah man, you think you'll be able to do that, but trust me, you won't be able to do that. And so a lot of women like myself who probably have never had children, we tend to think that we'll still be able to function in much the same way before. So I'm trying to be as realistic as I can with how much time I'll actually take away from the office. I've read where, they recommend that you don't overpromise or overcommit, because then the baby may come and you may be so exhausted that you can't keep up. But thankfully for me, I have a very flexible work environment in terms of understanding. So I plan to stay connected because I can actually work from home as long as I have my telephone and my laptop and I stay connected. That will help me to stay connected. So hopefully, in between daddy and mommy and everybody who's coming to support baby fishing, I'll be able to stay connected. And then of course, for important things, I want to be kept in the loop, so I'd want to be copied on emails. So even if I don't have to follow up immediately, I can check at my own leisure, and just so I can stay in the loop to see when important things are happening, and to be involved in the process, so that when I'm about to go back, it's not a complete shock. And my work environment moves very, very quickly. So a day or a week away is like a year.
So we're not trying to go back to work overwhelmed.
Exactly, and you ease yourself in. But it all depends on the kind of work that you do. For some people, they can literally shut off for the 3 months or 2 months, whatever amount of vacation time it is that they take. Not vacation, maternity leave rather. Maternity leave is not a vacation. Whatever time they take, they can tune out and then they can go back for work. For others of us, it's important to remain as connected as you can. But the important point is that you have to acknowledge that you'll need some rest and some time away to bond with the baby. So that's important.
Okay, thank you so much for stopping by with us today.
Awesome.
Okay, so for other helpful hints and tricks, you can stop by the store, or you can check us out on social media handle at Baby Bop Store. Remember, we do stock everything but the baby.